Hello composers, Mike here. Do you want to learn some amazing MIDI quantization tips in Logic Pro X, including a hidden professional feature? Let's quantize like a pro right now. I will also give you a bonus tip in the end of this video. So let's say you have a drum performance like my taikos here. And you go and want to quantize your performance, let's say on this clip here. Well, the thing about music is that it is the tiny imperfections in timing, note length, velocity values and so on that makes it sound human, organic and full of life. If you quantize every note of every part of every instrument in your composition, like you can do if you select all and go up here to quantize and let's say 16th notes, they are perfectly quantized to the grid. But if you do, your music will sound robotic, stiff and soulless. So the first tip I have for you is to use this slider in here, the Quantize Strength, which you can use on a region basis. So let's say this region here, go in here, let me zoom in, you can select all and then set the quantize value here, which is 16th note right now. Now it's off, but as you can see, it doesn't do anything right now because the slider on strength is at 0. On 100%, if I zoom in now, you will see that the notes were perfectly quantized to the grid, which is what you want to avoid. So use this slider to drag it slightly down to have some tiny variations in the timing of your notes. My second tip for you is that you do not need to quantize every note the same in any part in your track. You can, for example, have, let's say, the lowest note be tighter and quantize them like 75%, but the higher notes you might want to have a bit looser, so reduce the quantize value on those. As you can see, at least if I zoom in here, now I can actually quantize these notes selectively, so these can be looser and the lower notes can be tighter. By the way, if I select a note, it will not update the actual quantization strength slider, so you need to actually make your selection first and then go into and adjust it if you want. Now tip 3 is really advanced, and that is if you quickly want to change the quantize value in here. Let's say you change between parts, like going in here and now you want to change it to 8 notes and then you want to quantize this for quarter notes or whatever, then you probably do not want to go in here and change all the time with your mouse like this. In that case, I recommend that you set up in the key command editor like so, quantize, and here you can see set quantize parameter to next value and previous value, which I have mapped to these letters on my computer keyboard. And now check if I press them like so, I can switch very fast between them. Personally, I use this feature a lot to quickly change between a triplet note value and a straight note value. For example, if I want to add 3 triplet notes right here, then I quickly change to triplet notes so I can quantize those notes in the performance to triplets, then go straight back to 16th notes or 8th notes or whatever. Alright, so those were my 3 tips on quantizing MIDI notes and parts in Logic, but I actually have a bonus tip for you. I saved the best one for last. My personal favorite quantize feature in Logic is called Smart Quantize, because the old way of quantizing only took the note start position into consideration. So if I quantize this piano part here to perfect 16th notes, this one will be dragged to this one will be dragged to this, and this one will be dragged to this. Well, sometimes you play in arpeggio fashion or portamento or flams on drums and whatever. Then you really want to keep those little tiny variations like this little roll in here. Alright, let me solve that first. If I use classic quantize and bring this up to 16th note perfect value, look what happens. Well, no, those notes play simultaneously and then this, which is not the roll. It sounds like crap. That's because the classic quantization mode is pretty much crap in my opinion. The smart quantize that they added in Logic is much better because it takes note length and the relationships between the notes in timing into account when they quantize the starting position. So check this out. If I select these now and change to smart quantize, which you do in the Reading Inspector up here, quantize, then you need to left click here and switch from classic to smart quantize. Now nothing happens because the slider is still on 0. Look what happens. If I bring this up, they start to quantize to the grid, but even if I go all the way up, I still have this little slope here, this little roll in. This was not perfect quantize to the grid line here, this was not perfect here. So this is actually a way better technique for quantizing parts, in my opinion. Listen to this now. Now it kept that little ring roll at the beginning and in here because of the smart quantize mode. So I recommend at least to try this out, and personally I love using this way more in basically any quantize situation. Check out my complete video series on Logic Pro X tutorials and tips here on my channel. Learn and master Logic Pro X to boost your music composition and production workflow.